Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Night Owl, a show that we do twice a week where we talk about the latest entertainment news, movie reviews, TV reviews, and even gaming news. And here with me, I have a great panel of gentlemen. First of all, you know him very well. He's the co host of this show, which is Dred Roberts. How's it going, Dred?
Yo, what is going on, everybody? Yes, we really do actually have a cool looking panel here tonight, like a seriously cool looking panel.
And our frequent panelists that we have here, we have Sean Crummell, the real Sean Crummell, who the artist Sean Crummell, and we also have Professor R2. How's it going, guys?
Doing well.
Doing good.
Thanks for having me.
So yeah, so you guys, have made some guest appearances here lately, but finally we got like a full house tonight. We have Dred, who's been doing some stuff, outside the internet world, doing some things, and we have you guys. You guys have been, really doing great here in the panel, and it's nice to have everybody here.
I'm very excited, as you can see. Yeah.
Me too. I'm shaking
we're all
too.
very excited. I'm more excited to have like everybody here tonight than the Acolyte than I am with the Acolyte. Acolyte episode 6, which is a disaster. But give me 1 second. I just want to make sure that Nick from 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser has a link to this because he asked me for it. So you guys talk amongst yourselves for 2 seconds.
Hey, baby, we come here often.
Yes. Well, 2 seconds is about all we're going to give the Acolyte, probably. So we better not start yet. We'll wait for Price to get things together. It's great to be here tonight. It's good to see you all. It's good to meet you, Dred Roberts. First time to get to be on with you.
Yeah, man, it's good to meet you. I totally missed the other times you guys were on, but
hey, that's all right.
Yeah.
Who's this cat?
That's what's your name? His name's Plato. Plato.
Nice.
He just likes to watch people. That's all he does.
I dig it.
Yeah. Yeah, he talks too. He talks, but he just won't do it now. Sorry.
Yeah.
I can
He
only
does it
turn
so well, though. He does it so well.
I can only turn invisible if no one's looking at me.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. Mystery Men. Yes.
Yeah, man.
I watched that with my kids just a couple weeks ago, and then all of a sudden there was a discussion with some friends. They started like, "Do you remember this movie, Mystery Men?" And I'm like, "What the?" Like out of nowhere, just literally out of nowhere, we ended up watching
It's a great movie.
The family, and I was like, "Wow, yeah, we had literally just watched that like 10 days ago."
Yeah,
it's actually it's a really classic film, and it was before we had this glut of all of the superhero movies. It was before we even had the series of X-Men, which really kind of launched stuff. I really think the only thing that was before that might have been Blade.
It was one of the earliest superhero movies. My best friend and I were like, "This is amazing." And I guess it's part of like the Flaming Carrot universe, but the Flaming Carrot never actually shows up in the movie.
Okay.
And so you guys how many people here have watched The Acolyte episode 6?
Oh, I have, unfortunately, yes.
I have too. Dred, you've watched it?
Yeah, probably just us 4 and maybe a handful of other.
No, Sean refuses to watch. We basically are telling him what's going on in The Acolyte so that he doesn't have to watch it.
So after Luke Skywalker showed up in season 2 of Mandalorian, for some reason my brain was like, I'm done, and I have not watched anything since.
So Sean is going to be playing the role of, wait, what happened?
There's going to be a lot of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's actually good that we have a Sean because there's something exciting about telling somebody that really likes Star Wars what this show is about.
No, as long as I can do it without knocking over every action figure on my desk. I will show you, like, those comic boxes are mostly full of Star Wars, and then most of that shelving on the bottom 4 shelves is Star Wars novels from like the 90s. that I have not gotten through. So like, you tell me Disney Star Wars stuff, and I'm just gonna be like, okay.
Dude, watch. We're gonna tell him something he doesn't like, and he's just gonna knock all his toys off.
I'll just see them flying across the screen.
That's right.
Boba Fett's everywhere.
I mean, I don't know about you guys. I fell asleep so fast. It was like a lullaby. I was gone.
So boring, man. I mean, let's kind of just dig into this thing. It's so boring. So, I mean, first of all, just watching the recap from last week is already boring. And I have to watch it because I struggle to remember even the dumb crap that was last week. So on one hand, I have to watch it. On the other hand, I'm even sad that I'm watching the recap.
They dangled some shiny lightsabers in front of you last week, and that was about it.
Yeah, like the recaps are completely pointless and don't help you understand what happened at all.
Totally. This stupid thing with the two sisters. I mean, we've made fun of this thing with the the twin sisters from day one. And somehow it's not that they're not doing anything to justify this creative decision. Every time I see these sisters, it's just really, really bad. And it's not helped by the fact that this actress cannot pull it off. Anytime I see her, it seems like somebody told her that she needs to pretend. Dread, close your ears. That she needs to pretend like she wants to give somebody a blowjob, but she's not sure.
Thanks for warning me ahead of time, Price.
That's usually the face that she makes, like that she's considering it, but she's not gonna go for it. That's all I think about when I see her. If you now watch it, like you'll know exactly what I mean.
It's just Star Wars the cock tease.
Dude, she was so boring as Osha and May this episode. It's like as Osha, she had to be quiet, reserved, and slightly upset. And that's usually how May is. So now this time May had to like double and triple down on the performance of boring and dead. So she's like completely listless and emotionless as May throughout the whole episode. Like you see zero emotion.
I feel like you're describing every female Star Wars character since 2012.
It's true, but at least Rosario Dawson, I've seen her and stuff, and I knew that I liked her there. This actress, I feel like I'm not sure I ever want to see her again.
We know what you're secretly doing to her little video that she made every single night. It's okay.
that was straight up vomit fuel.
Yes, exactly. We know what you're doing. You're throwing up.
We're throwing up.
What is this location? This looks.
I
like
have a question
too.
Yes, this looks like that Ryan Johnson island, even though.
Oh yes, and they refuse to name it. They refuse to name the planet. It says unnamed planet when they show it, and so it's absolutely it's going to have to be Octo. And eventually we're going to find out. Well, guess totally. What? Luke wasn't the first one to find it. Anakin wasn't the first kid made by the Force.
This place just looks like Octo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but who wants to even be the discoverer of Octo? Now, I was thinking to myself, maybe these creatures are the ones with the boobs later.
Those are like babies.
Dude, no way.
Could be.
Right.
This is the boob creatures when they're young.
Yeah. The green milk creatures. Could be.
It could be the green milk creatures. That's what I was thinking to myself. It's like they probably think that the Last Jedi is cool, so they want to, show where it all began.
No wonder that bad guy is so fit. He's been drinking blue milk this whole time.
Man, the bad guy is also kind of weird.
Can I tell you that helmet?
Creepy uncle.
Creepy uncle. That's exactly what he is. I didn't know how to say it in a way that that comes off okay on YouTube and Rumble and whatever it is. I didn't really know how to say it, but creepy uncle, I think that that's the best thing.
Yeah.
By the way, we have a fantastic crowd here on Rumble. Just to point that out.
Ooh, yeah.
We have close to 600 people watching on Rumble, and we're very, very grateful. Rumble is a great platform, and we love being on it.
Yeah. Before we move on from that first scene there, I want to point out that OSHA has apparently been conveniently knocked out long enough to be dragged back, dozens of hours or, through the forest, loaded up on the ship, flown to an entirely different planet before she wakes up.
So Disney Star Wars has no concept of time when it
It's
comes
terrible.
to space and space travel. Like, at least in the expanded universe, they would be like, we gotta go to this planet. It's gonna take us like 3 days flying at faster than light speed to get there. They have no concept of that, and I blame J.J. Abrams.
Yeah,
for
well,
it.
and if you go back to the very first Star Wars film, they have some very important, very meaningful scenes in that first Star Wars film that happen while they're on their way to Alderaan.
Mhm.
There are meaningful character moments. It clearly takes them time to travel. Yeah, ever since JJ has no concept of space, time, anything. He does this in a bunch of his movies. He did it in.
He doesn't have any concept of filmmaking either. If we're being
this is
honest.
also true. He is a hack in more than one way. But
we were saying that we had complaints about his misunderstanding of space in the Star Trek movies the other day, and that's like blown out of proportion to like 1,000%, where he's got the hyperspace laser destroying multiple planets in one shot. It's like, sir, I don't think you understand how this works.
Well, not even just destroying multiple planets in one shot. That one, it only takes moments for it to pass across vast interstellar distances, and two, people on other planets can just see it.
Yeah, and like you could totally build up an interesting scene, being like, "Oh, there's a bright light that's suddenly appearing in our sky. It's suddenly we might have to evacuate the planet because it's getting brighter. We now realize it's on a course, and it looks like it's going to destroy us. Like, there could be panic in the streets. You could build up tension, all this other stuff. But JJ is just like, nope, done."
We have Scribelight saying in the EU, Luke would put himself into healing/meditative trances to help pass the days in hyperspace.
Exactly. He did.
There's no such nuances in this kind of Disney Star Wars.
There's no nuance at all. They're just
nobody bothers to even read this. It's complete CW hacks at this point.
Hey, this episode may have sucked and the series may suck, but I can easily explain the whole her being unconscious thing. It's very simple. He just zapped her a bunch of times. Every time she was about to wake up, he would just zap her again. He's like, "Oh," and she's like coming to, and he's like, "Oh, there it goes."
I thought you
right back to sleep.
I thought you were going to say that he gave her the old Cosby. And
well, he does look like a creepy uncle. Every sentence that he says, and really, with her, with the considering if to give a blowjob or not, and the creepy uncle together, that is a weird acting setup there.
And there's other terrible choices that they make too. So here we are. They're on their way back to their ship. Again, we've established this is at least several hours walk. They apparently have not shared 2 words the entire time they've been walking from where this fight took place, where the end of the last series or the end of the last episode happened, and getting to the ship. They've only now decided to talk to each other, having gotten to the ship, now that the script has caught up with them. So it's...
you nailed it, though, Bryce. There is a nuance that you have to have for writing science fiction. I'm trying to build my own universe, and I keep coming up with like just subtle things that like you're like, well, I wouldn't have thought of that if I was just the average person. But you have to take into consideration numerous aspects of space travel or life on different planets. Nothing Disney has done since 2012 makes me believe that anyone considers any aspect of...
How could it? Look at the people that they've hired. J.J. Abrams is a guy that when he was 16 years old, he sold his first pilot because his father was already a Hollywood producer, set him up with a meeting with a studio, and they were friends with him, so they greenlit J.J. Abrams' first show when he was 16, even though he was a jerk-off. Sorry, Dread. In any case,
it's just like even George Lucas pisses me off to some degree. Like I love him and I hate him, but he at least had the foresight to think, like fully think through these concepts.
Yes, he did
to a
actually think of
degree.
stuff, whereas
Yeah.
these other guys don't have the capacity to do it. And here we have like Leslie Headland, who was the assistant of Harvey W., and she is now sort of making this, and her heroes, quote unquote, are like J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson.
Yeah.
And this is what
And
we're
she's
getting.
like, I'm a lesbian. That's the most important thing of the world. And it's like,
Oh yeah.
no, it's not. You
Yes.
dumb
Well,
bee.
yeah.
And I'm sorry, I'm like a broken record. She wasn't always a lesbian, at least seemingly wasn't.
Yeah.
But I won't get into that again.
Yes. Well, I'll say, as I have said many times, if who you want to put it in is the most interesting thing about you, you're an incredibly boring person.
I guess so. Yes.
Star Wars just pisses me off so much because they absolutely handed it over to the nerds that used to make fun of me that didn't know shit about anything. And now it's like, I once heard of a Star Wars. I can make a television show.
It's for everybody. Let's be inclusive. It's for everybody. But it's like they don't even bother to read the books or watch the movies or do anything. I mean, I've only read a bit of the books, I admit it, but at least I'm knowledgeable in the movies, and at least I know
don't
something.
Even have to read all those books that I knocked over all my action figures for. You just have to understand. I feel like I should. Yeah. You just have to understand like the basic concept. It's good versus evil and doing the right thing. But it's a bunch of like soulless a-holes that are in charge of this stuff now.
Because in real life, they don't know how to do the right thing. They're they're kind of hypocrite, douchey people. So how could they understand the difference between wrong and right? So they're like, well, we don't get it, so we'll just make it so that people aren't good and bad anymore. They're just kind of douchey.
Star Wars saved my soul, but I'm a soulless scumbag. So now I'm gonna make a show. Well.
They want to see themselves on screen, and they're douches, and they want to see themselves on screen. That's what I understand. Like this whole representation is.
I'm sorry, I'm rambling. It's just if you don't understand what the movies were about originally, then you're wasting everyone's time. It was about doing the right thing when it was hard, and so many people went the easy way out.
Scribe Light says, no sense of obstacle or difficulty, adding time and distance between locations and events casually builds out the scope of the universe. Light speed is a light switch at Disney.
It's true.
Yep. And there's so many missed opportunities there too. Again, a lot of the character building moments, the moments when it's quiet, the between the fights, between the craziness that's happening in the rescue mission or whatever, when we're forced to just sit with ourselves and sit with each other as we wait for this imminent battle or to arrive at our destination. Those are those times when you have an opportunity to talk.
Just quickly, I want to say Vex Electronica sex. I guess it was a Freudian slip. Sorry, Vex. Vex Electronica. Star Wars sucks, but you guys are rad. Good night. She probably doesn't think that after I called her Sex Electronica.
Oh, she's sexy, Vexy. She's
not going to bed anymore.
She's fine. Yeah, she'll be okay.
Professor
R2, she's a good sport, I think.
R2 Professor R2's totally right. The quiet moments are so important. When I was growing up reading the expanded universe stuff, I'm still not as far caught up as I would like to be. But when I realized that hyperspace took time, the first thing I thought of was like, how dramatic a moment is it where maybe you have information that something horrendous is going to happen on a planet, and you are now traveling through light speed, and it's going to take you 3 days to get there. And it's like, holy crap, I need to prevent this. I don't know if I'm going to make it in time. And it's like, Disney has no concept of this. They don't even care about it. They don't even think about it. They're just like.
I just want to say that on the Rumble side, we have Phantom Monk who says Lord of the Rings had some great quiet moments, and that is true.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was the whole. So does everyone who faces such times.
At the beginning, I thought this was a person like from some exotic country, but now I know what "I have no dick" means. If people were truly honest with themselves, they'd admit they don't want to be represented. They want to be entertained.
Yes.
Yep, that's what I want. I want to be entertained, but there's a lot of just douchey people, and they want to see themselves on screen. That's the problem.
Yeah.
But back to what
ruin everything for everyone else.
We were looking. Sol goes back to the ship, and he's like, "Listen, all my team is dead." And he's like, "Can you repeat that, sir?" And then he's like, "All my team is dead." It almost feels like a Mel Brooks movie. I don't know. Transmission is like, "I can't hear you, sir. All my people are dead." Sir, did you say that you want?
Not to interrupt you, but if you told me that current Lucasfilm thinks that Spaceballs is canon to Star Wars, I would say, yeah, I believe it. Especially after Solo.
But this wasn't even supposed to be funny. It was just like supposed to be serious, and yet I looked at it and chuckled for some reason. Yeah. Now this is actually another part that I just ended up laughing. That's what this is. I sleep and I laugh. That's what this show is.
What is this 40s diner that they're walking around in?
Oh yeah,
that's their ship. And this little beaver here on the right, his name is Basil, and Basil is like what is it, like a mystery sniffing dog? I don't really know how to explain it. Like
is he part of the crew? I thought they like picked him up. Wasn't he a stray or something?
No, they brought him along. He's their tracker. They brought him along to help them find Kelnaka, the Wookiee Jedi. Apparently, they can't use the Force to like feel him out or anything. So they brought along the tracker, and they brought along a pair of Kelnaka's drawers for him to sniff. And then they went into the jungle to find him. So Basil, people keep calling it an otter or beaver or whatever. It's whatever he is. Yeah,
they have the worst alien designs.
Yes, it's pretty bad. But apparently
it's like the Babu Frick of this thing.
I actually like
Babu Frick is kind of funny. I have to admit.
He's like one of the only aliens I actually like that Disney has done.
Yeah.
You know what though? If it makes you feel any better, this guy is like a discount Babu Frick, who in and of himself is kind of a silly.
This otter's more like a Bebe Frack or something like that. Just a much more hefty version.
Jay Goodwin says Basil is a known underwear sniffer.
Yes,
I believe it.
They keep a library of. They keep a library of Jedi underwear in the temple. So if they ever lose somebody and they need to sniff them out, they've got a little piece of their clothes to.
No, this is really stupid. Like in the last episode, she was like, "I want to give myself up to the Jedi. I don't want to kill anymore. I'm like a good person now." And then she sees Saul sitting there, so she pulls out a knife. She's like, I gotta go kill him. And then like he turns around, he's like, "Hey, like, can you take over for the ship?" She's like, "Sure."
Yeah.
Like it's a combination of poor writing and poor directing and poor acting. And man, this is not good, because this whole thing with the sisters, you really have to sell it. Like sorry, go on, Dredd.
Well, I think they kind of do sell it as twins because they're both equally bad at seizing opportunities.
They're like the dumbest twins.
Killed the Sith guy, even though he's like literally about to kill him, and then she's about to stab him and won't do it. They're twins for sure.
Man, I don't know that this actress, that stupid song that she did, that she was like, dancing weird and whatever. She actually showed more character in that shitty thing than this thing. This is like even worse. This is really, really bad. I keep saying it every time that David Hasselhoff as the twins on Knight Rider was 10 times better than this. You know what? 100 times better. I believe David Hasselhoff had an evil twin.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And then again, she's changed her mind how many times now? For she's going to kill the Jedi, then she's going to surrender to the Jedi, then she's trying to run away, and now she's going to kill them again. I guess.
Two of my favorite things in the world are spaceships and like 50s diners, and I can't stand this spaceship. I want it destroyed. It's so bad looking.
Oh, all the ships.
All the
Yeah,
ships
there's
look like
another.
crap.
There is another ship that we'll see a little bit later that Leslie Headland's wife is flying around in. The ship designs in this series are dreadful.
Yeah,
Dreadful.
they're pretty bad.
And all these aliens, I want them dead. My kingdom for Phil Tippett to return.
Oh, well, at least our beaver friend here was nice enough to pick up OSHA's smartphone when he
This
found
is
it
the
lost
dumbest
in-
thing that he managed to investigate her Swiss Army knife or whatever it is.
That's her smartphone. I'm telling you, it's an
It's her
iPhone.
smartphone, whatever it is. And he had
iPod
to talk
shuffle.
with a smartphone, and then it's a smart Swiss Army knife. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
In any case, he interrogated the Swiss Army knife, who told him that I don't know how the Swiss Army knife knew so much, but was able to give him a lot of information. So that's how he cracked the case wide open. This little gopher, whatever he's supposed to be.
Yeah, what do they feed him? You know that Soul has no idea what to feed this poor thing.
Well,
Yeah.
wood, obviously.
yeah.
He's
There's a
already
stick.
made himself at home here in this lab.
Is he actually played by a little
I do not
person
like
or
this
something?
No, they probably don't do that anymore.
Oh my god, if they had to film him like large size, but make it look smaller, that's terrible.
It may be all CGI, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't even know.
Maybe it's
Maybe
a
you know
kid with
better
a
than me.
CGI mask on.
Could be.
Who knows?
Who knows at this point? But man, I really can't get. Don't really like this creature. There's really nothing unique or interesting about him beyond. I mean, anything. I just don't like him. Then there's the creepy uncle guy, and her, and I don't know. This is what I told you about the. I stand by my assessment. Considering the BJ and the creepy uncle.
She looks like the Star Wars equivalent of someone I would hate seeing on the news protesting something.
This is just awful. And this whole thing, this whole scene, it's so poorly acted. It's so poorly written. It's awful. But like the interesting thing is that, you think maybe he thought that he took the other sister, but he's like, no, he knew all the time that he took her. And he's like, you like this lightsaber, don't you? You like to hold it, don't you? And meanwhile he's kind of naked, and he's like, what do you think when you look at me naked? Do you want to strike me down? And it's like, what is this shit? Sorry, Dread.
If you're not going to join me, can I at least put my clothes on?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
As
So, yeah, we get some beefcake, of course, because Star Wars is for women now. Well,
Yeah.
women and
Dude, he's
other
in that
people.
pool for like 2 seconds.
That
Like,
lightsaber
he gets in and then
design-
gets
Yeah.
out.
Instantly clean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That lightsaber design is god awful. As an old school nerd, I used to judge lightsaber designs really harshly. So like when the prequels came out, I was like, nope, doesn't work, don't like it.
And now she's sort of kind of can't decide what to do. Meanwhile, Saul hugs her and he's like, I'm so
Bro.
happy. I'm
He
so happy that I
hugs her.
found you.
Look at that stupid. She's like angry, evil, and like
Isn't
she could
he
just stab him.
Isn't he the guy that was like watching them as children or something?
Yeah.
Isn't he the creepy uncle?
He was the creepy uncle too. He was hiding behind the tree looking at the
True.
kids. There's another there's another funny thing here is that she hears like flashbacks from when she was a kid. Like, no, OSHA, no, what are the thing with the questions, that they lied about the questions on the ship and they did the test. Like, she has a flashback. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Like
and
that's
again,
so cheap.
we have Saul just inches away from her. He doesn't see
Can't
the
sense
tattoo
anything.
on her forehead.
Oh,
He
Doesn't
doesn't-
rip
he
the
doesn't
memories from her
sense-
brain.
Yeah, he doesn't sense that it's not her, unless he's just playing it cool somehow and doesn't think he's going to get stabbed. I don't know, but he doesn't appear to know that it's her, even though he's inches away from the tattoo on her forehead. He can't, he doesn't smell the singed hair from her impromptu haircut at the end of the previous episode. Like nothing, right?
I
So
think this
Can't
is
the
all.
Jedi? Is it not all Jedi that can sense the emotions of somebody right nearby?
should be able
That's
to.
how
Yeah.
it used to be.
Because I would assume that May and Osha's emotions are vastly different from each other. Like, May's probably like harboring a bunch of
Yeah.
rage and darkness. Like, I feel like that would emanate from somebody,
Yeah, if you're pissed off all the time, people can sense that even if you don't have force powers.
Exactly.
In San Francisco, I was arguing with my wife on Market Street, and I was so pissed. We were walking somewhere, and just my face was parting the crowd as we walked down the street. So you can't tell me no one would pick up on two different characters.
By the way, so Leslie Headland's wife, she's unhappy about. Oh wait, not unhappy. She's trying to hear what happened to Soul, and then I think her assistant guy comes in. I mean, could they have found a more nerdy and less like masculine looking assistant? He looks
he's
like
so
such a twerp. I don't really
Where's
know.
his chin?
I can't tell if he's supposed to be her Padawan or what, but yeah, Jedi soy boy here. Like, man.
Yeah.
Your head should not jut that far forward.
The whole design here and their outfits, every single thing about this show, like it doesn't seem like something that costs $20 million an episode. This is CW level crap.
Well, even when they announced the High Republic, every design looked generic and uninteresting. And I don't know what it is they did with the Jedi robes. Every image I saw, I was like, I don't care.
No, yeah, the designs that they've done for these characters, clearly they're going for a more uniform look. Everyone's wearing the same thing more or less, except for a few of the masters. And it's obvious that they're trying to make them look more like a police force or a military. And but the costumes look terrible. They look like they were bought off the rack at Spirit Halloween.
And I would say that who was it? What was I listening to? It might have been Chato on one of the WDW Pros streams, where he was like, the Jedi should be like warrior monks. Like, you should have to seek them out in swamps, and they shouldn't be this like cohesive group that's on Coruscant. And I was like, yeah, Chato, I completely agree. That's one of my biggest problems with the prequels. It's like, they shouldn't be uniform. They shouldn't all be wearing robes. Like, Obi-Wan going to Tatooine and dressing in robes should be a disguise, not like he's like, I'm going to hide out for 20 years and dress exactly.
I'm going to keep wearing my Jedi robes.
Like, what the F, dude?
No, yeah, it's there's so
That's
much.
a great point.
So much of Star Wars is so flawed, and I love it so much, but it pisses me off so much.
But in this thing, I think that her not so manly assistant tells her that Saul went out with his team, and now, from what he understood, the entire team is dead. She's like, we have to go to this planet at once.
Dude, he's only there for exposition, and he's basically a Dobby in human form. Shall we go and fetch the rest of the Jedi? No, we're fine. Like, come on, are you sure? It's time. Man.
And Master has given Dobby a sock.
This thing with a creepy uncle, creepy uncle and her is just really weird.
Is this the Smilo Ren guy?
Yeah, this is Smilo Ren. Yeah. He's like,
creepy
if
cousin.
you want to get to the ship, you're gonna have to swim. And like,
it's only like 100 feet.
Right, and also every time he speaks, it's kind of slow, and it's as if he's saying something with meaning. But like, neither of these actors have enough gravitas to pull this off. It just looks like two kids pretending to be actors, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's all of Disney. That's all of Disney Star Wars.
So now she's back on the ship.
Star Wars.
and she's worried that her smartphone / Swiss Army knife android, I don't know, a droid
Pip.
will,
Yeah.
Pip, that he'll snitch on her. So she's like, I'm gonna do a factory reset on you.
Yes. It's a factory reset.
And I'm
Not,
like,
I'm going to
oh
wipe your
man,
memory or anything. No, it's a factory reset, just like it was a freaking smartphone.
it's
Yeah,
just like it was a phone. It's so embarrassing. When she did the thing that she's pressing the button and factory resetting it, I cringed. That's really embarrassing.
Hold these buttons for 3 seconds to erase your
Here,
phone.
this is it. She's doing a factory reset here.
Yep.
So
In a
dumb.
galaxy far, far away.
On what? What is this device?
That's the little Pip droid that OSHA has been carrying around since the start of the show. It's apparently some sort of does everything droid. She uses it to weld. She uses it to put out a fire. She uses it to squirt people with water.
So it's
It's
an even
OSHA's best
smaller
friend.
R2, an even smaller R2D2.
From 100
Kind
years
of.
before R2.
Ugh.
Right, yeah,
like a
and it's her
Pokédex.
best friend. Best
It's
friend in the whole world.
another infuriating thing that Disney does with Star Wars is they have no concept of technology progressing. Like growing up, the A-Wings and the B-Wings were experimental fighters when I was a kid, and they used them to combat the TIE interceptors. So when you watch the original trilogy, the ships progress in technology, and you get this sense that the war is like escalating throughout the three
On
movies.
evolving.
You
Yeah.
go to Rebels, and it's like, what, 18 years before Luke Skywalker, and they're like, oh, we have A-Wings and we have B-Wings we just discovered. And I'm like, you are ruining all sense of immersion.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
I feel like a bunch of actresses have to send this actress flowers, like Moses Ingram, Kelly Marie Tran, Rosario Dawson. Like until now, when you thought of the failures of Disney Star Wars, you thought of those, even Daisy Ridley. But now I feel like the failure of Disney. This is the face of the failure of Disney Star Wars.
The face of failure is whatever new actress they want to force in for diversity.
I mean, the thing is, though, listen, you can have it. Rosario Dawson is an actress that I like, so I don't think that they forced diversity there. I think that just they didn't know what to do with her. But yeah, I mean, here it's a combination where they wanted to force the diversity, I suppose. But this actress isn't really saying like, "Well, I don't care about that. I'm here to give a great performance." She's really not good.
Show
I mean,
me
I'm
a
trying to be
different facial
nice, but
expression.
it's hard for me to be nice because she's not good.
Yeah.
Well, I think you said the music video, she put more heart into that, and it's like, well, it seems like something, misguided or not, she cares about. I don't get the sense that anyone they ever put in these shows gives a crap about Star Wars.
Yeah. Well, there's other things too, like things that are just cheap shortcuts. It's amazing. Like seriously, in this scene right here, I swear to you, Manny, the Khmer, the bad guy, he walks in and he puts his hand into a Home Depot 5-gallon bucket. It's been sprayed black, but you can tell that's exactly what it is.
Also,
they didn't even try and make it anything unique or different or disguise it. It's a freaking Home Depot 5-gallon bucket that they just spray painted.
I'm going to look at that in 1 second, but I want to show you something really important. This is 10 seconds. Like if we jump 10 seconds into the scene, this is what she looks like. Now, 10 seconds earlier, she looked. She didn't change her expression within 10 seconds. Now you want 10 seconds forward? No problem.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
So, for now, for like 30 seconds, this is her face, and then this is where was the Home Depot? Is this the Home Depot?
It's just right before the shot with her in it, I
Oh.
think. Yeah.
Acting.
That's the Home Depot 5-gallon bucket. They didn't do anything to it except spray paint it black.
So I could forgive that if they added like greebles or greeblies, however you want to say it.
Something to try and disguise it.
I mean,
because back in the day, it was all greebles and shelf bought stuff, but
they only have $20 million an episode, so I think you got to cut them a break here. Cut them some slack.
It's not like they have warehouses of Star Wars props.
Yeah.
I mean, look, 40 seconds, and she was just making this face. Like, she just makes the same face all the time. And I know I'm going to get some shit for this, but man, is this an annoying face. I mean, this face annoys me.
It is, but show emotion. Like, what's happening in the scene? What is he telling her? How should she be responding?
It seems like that for like 40 seconds she's standing here, and she thinks that maybe somebody farted.
You gotta hand it to Manny Jacinto. Like, his performance is amazing, because if I stood there seeing her straight face for more than 10 seconds, I would not be able to stop myself from laughing.
Yeah. Honestly, again, I think that Lee Jung-jae and Manny have both actually. You can feel that there's effort going into their performance. Now,
there's
the
more
dialogue
effort.
Is a disaster.
Yeah, I mean, there's more effort. I agree, but I think that like the Squid Games guy is a better actor. This guy, he's trying hard, but man, I don't know. Maybe I'm being hard on him because the material is so bad. But man,
so is it a question of the actress or the direction? Like, what is happening in the scene? What is he telling her?
He's telling her about the dark side, and he's telling her about how like strength is power and his plans for the power of two and whatnot, and he's saying like, come on, you've always felt this way, be honest with yourself. And she's like, no.
So we could probably blame whoever's directing the episode for not telling the actress. Like, he is giving you vital insight to how the dark side works, and you should be processing this information in your brain, and it should come across your face as he's giving you this information, whether you agree with it or it goes against how you were being brought up.
But by the way, Kivo1961 says she's got a Joe Biden face.
Like,
it is kind of stiff.
She just let go of Dookie.
I'm not saying she's a great actress. I'm just saying, like, the director is obviously failing too in this shot.
Everybody is failing.
Yeah,
every single aspect of this production is failing.
I think you guys
the writing is terrible.
When you guys said
and the writer is terrible.
When you guys said that they don't care, that you hit the nail on the head. Like, Leslie Headland wrote this episode, and she still gave her wife's character nothing to work with. Like, that's how bad it is.
She doesn't want to play favorites here.
That's so terrible.
Everyone gets bad lines. Everyone.
I can't tell you how frustrating it is to grow up as a fan of something like so hardcore and then watch it become this.
So yes, this is she and him. They're going back and forth. They're kind of talking about, their experiences and, what were you? He says he was a Jedi. He says he was a Jedi long ago.
This looks like the place that Luke Skywalker says it's time for the Jedi to end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Act 2. Act 2. Put 2. It sounds like you're spitting.
But yeah, he basically says that yes, he used to be a Jedi at some point long ago, and but he's not anymore. He doesn't say how long it was, whatever. So I don't know exactly what they're going to do with that character, but clearly they're going to do something. Oh, you hit a perfect screen grab there. That is the fakest ass looking lightsaber. That looks just like it is a lightsaber plastic LED prop. They didn't do anything to it to make it look better.
Yeah,
it looks terrible. Like it's from the parks. It looks like the builder
literally
saber.
Like they ordered it from Saberforge.
Yes,
it looks like the one you get from the park that you build, and it's like twice as big as a normal lightsaber.
All of their lightsabers look that way. They've never done one that looks normal for some reason with all their money.
Even worse. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, even worse, in the expanded universe, the further you went back in time, the more primal the lightsabers looked, to the point, like, they even had cables going to a battery pack. This era is, like, after Darth Revan, I would guess. And then slightly before that is like the original Tales of the Jedi comics, and they had chunky lightsabers with like a lot of stuff coming off them. This just looks like crap to me.
This isn't Knights of the Old Republic like 5,000-10,000 years before. This is just supposed to be 100 years before. the prequel films. So the lightsabers should look fairly modern. But yeah, no, they're not even bothering to really put effort into the special effects to make these lightsabers look special. It just looks like they, like you said, they ordered it from Theory Sabers or something and fired it up.
And again, it just seems like nobody cares.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, no, it's
except Leslie.
No, it's okay.
All she cares about is making the dude look hot because it's a 50 Shades of Grey fantasy. This episode.
Yeah, but then again, the same thing that I was telling you. It's like she's considering it, but then no, like, and Andy's still creepy.
This Jay Goodwin, the handle is that big because it has to hold D-cell batteries.
This twerp.
Oh yes,
I can't stand this twerp. Like this is their
Hi,
Jedi.
Master.
Oh my god, there's
Are
a
you
cell
sure that you want to go with us, Master?
Yeah.
Are you
So good
sure?
to see you, Master.
They really put a cell cath in this episode.
That hair.
That fish kid in the background is totally from Knights of the Old Republic, the video game.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, the longer Star Wars goes on and the worse it gets, the more they rip off the EU openly. Like, they're
yes.
we're gonna do a Rey movie, and it's gonna be the new Jedi Order. I immediately was like, go F yourself.
Oh yeah,
No,
and
I think
they just blatantly rip off the EU now, even though KK was like, there's nothing to draw from. We got no books or comics.
I'm pretty sure that fish guy comes in later in the episode and says something, actually.
There was a planet that you go to in the video game, and I forget the name of the planet, but the fishmen were all over the planet. And I loved them.
Yes.
I cannot believe they blatantly put that in there.
Yeah, there's I mean, that's all Star Wars is now. It's just references old Star Wars. It's the same as new Star Trek.
I feel like it's people standing around and talking.
I feel like it's been that since the beginning. Even when that dumb bitch was like, we don't have comics to draw from, they immediately started ripping off the expanded universe.
Yeah.
And then you see like Ryan Johnson's piece of crap. Sorry, I won't swear. And Luke is standing in front of like fake AT-AT walkers. The morning of that I went to see The Last Jedi, I posted images of Dark Empire where he takes down the AT-AT.
Oh yeah.
And then I saw those images and I'm like, you guys suck. When George sold Star Wars, I was like, you will never create anything original that hasn't been told already better in the last 40 years of books, comics, and games. And I've been proven right every single time they release something.
And now they're trying to destroy the granddaddy of the entire EU.
What?
Well, with the Dark Force and Heir to the Empire and everything with Thrawn.
Yeah.
They're going back to that series and they're trying to pull from that, but they're completely ruining it. They've ruined Thrawn. He's a moron.
Ruined Thrawn completely.
And they're going to ruin more of the show. So
I wasn't even Thrawn's biggest
dad bod
fan, but like I still respected the story and the character.
Just to address this scene here, this is also just some annoying scene that everything seems to take forever on this show. And then he's like, "Oh, you love your Swiss Army knife so much, even though it's just a machine. Like you've always had these feelings." And then like it's as if he's earned her trust, but then like she turns around, so he shoots her like with that machine that stuns Jedis. And then
so she's standing there pretending to be Osha, and she's saying some stuff that I'm like, she has to just be guessing because she hasn't seen Osha for over a decade. She doesn't know what she went through in being, in her Jedi training, what it was like being a Jedi trainee. Or
she can't just wing it here, it would be so obvious so quickly that she doesn't know what she's talking about, but somehow on this show they're just like really, really dumb.
I gave up so much to train as a Jedi. Like, you don't know that.
I
You
want
don't know
to
any of
punch
this
this
stuff.
guy in the forehead for his
He
stupid
is
haircut.
annoying. I mean, I can't
His
really say.
haircut is the worst.
I mean, Leslie Headland's wife is kind of annoying too. I'm not saying that because she's Leslie Headland's wife, but rather because I actually think that she's annoying.
Mm-hmm.
She happens to also be Leslie Headland's wife, but
Yeah.
that's not the reason why I think she's annoying. Although I'm not going to give her any points for being Leslie Headland's wife, but that's not the reason why I think she's annoying.
I don't hate these backgrounds. Like, some of these locations are all right.
They're probably all done through some computer anyways.
Well, just that one hillside. I'm like, well, that looks like something I might have seen in a comic book once.
And here he is repairing his magic helmet from the previous episode, which got busted up in his fight with Jackie before he killed her. And
he's like
so
Magneto. He's like Magneto with it.
You can't read my thoughts through this helmet. Okay, that's not whatever. But he does confirm. He uses the word cortosis. He confirms that yes, it's there.
And rip that off again.
Yes, and it does appear that she looks at the wall at one point, and it looks like there's like a vein of metal in the wall. So perhaps that's where he was able to get this from. But this whole scene, he's oh, don't you like my helmet? Do you want to touch my helmet?
It's like Lord Helmet in Spaceballs playing with his toys.
Try it on. Breathe the air I breathe.
Yes.
I'm telling you, current Lucasfilm thinks Futurama and Spaceballs is canon.
But he tells us that it's a sensory deprivation helmet. So it deprives him of his senses just like you would during Jedi training, I guess. So he relies on the Force when he's fighting.
If Disney wasn't so stupid, that could work. Like, as a story thing.
Then later on, she puts the helmet on. She can still see out of it. And clearly he can hear because people converse with him while he has the helmet on. So I'm not sure how sensory deprived he is with the helmet on, if he can see and hear, but whatever.
That's a good point.
It is.
That means like when they were talking to him last episode, all it sounded like to him was
he was hearing with the Force.
Wow.
That I will say, like, the design for that mask, it could work like in a competent story. You could be like, that dumb Smilo Ren thing is kind of a cool design. It could be intimidating, but none of this works.
No, and I don't think it works within Star Wars either, but that's my personal opinion. Maybe a different franchise.
Well, there's so much stuff. There's so many like dark lords in Star Wars, and I feel like you could get away with it. You could make a monstrous looking like smile for a helmet and have it pay off, but your story needs to be good for people to give a crap.
Also, I have to say that I couldn't care less about these characters dying.
Nope.
Like Junkie, whatever her name is, dying. That doesn't mean anything to me. Like, I was just worried that she'd come back to life. And I'm happy that like she stayed dead. I'm like, probably like now she's gonna get up and it was just a flesh wound. But no, like she
Jackie and Yord VPN.
Yeah, like Yord VPN also is
why is there a tank in that one shot? There's a tank, and I couldn't. Did they come here in a tank, or is this part of Kelnaka's ship? My guess is it must be part of Kelnaka's ship, but there's no context for that. We're just looking at this.
There's vines on it. Maybe it's a remnant from a past war, which would be cool.
Kelnaka's ship has crashed like over a year earlier, the Wookiee Jedi ship, and so it could be overgrown with vines and stuff. But it's just kind of like, where did that come from? Like we didn't see that in any of the previous episodes.
I think we may have gotten a raid.
Nick Weiser? I think we saw. Nick Weiser
I think that Nick Weiser sent some people this way, which we're very grateful for because Nick Weiser is a great guy. He does Toxic Tuesdays, and I think that today they watched Independence Day, and then I think they sent people here. I want to believe so. Yeah, I think they did.
It is a much better movie than this show.
Oh man, yeah. I was looking back through the chat. E. Clay Thomason is betting that our little soy boy's lightsaber is pink.
Oh my God!
I'm not gonna take that bet.
I cannot believe that we have not seen a pink lightsaber yet.
Can we
He's
see
gonna have
that
it. That's gonna
scrawny
be him.
Jedi again?
What'd you say?
Can we see that scrawny Jedi
He's here in the
assistant guy?
background.
Dude, someone give him a sandwich. That is the most malnourished Jedi. Like, that's the complete opposite of the big fat Jedi from the other episode.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't eat enough.
I still hate that haircut.
Wow. Like what
So
like
bad.
this is the guy. This is the guy that will give everyone exposition. Like, what? Dude.
May I have another?
There's a comic series. It's like Emissaries to Malestar or something. It's all the Jedi Council comic books from back in the 2000s. They look so much cooler than every one of these people dressed in this orange yellow garb. And I wonder if it's because their outfits are so like different. But the fact that they're putting them uniform, it really bothers me.
How did you feel about that in the prequels when they were doing that? They all sort of had a uniformity, maybe not as like pronounced as here though.
When I saw the concept art for Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, and they were in like black and they had like mohawks, I was like, that's weird, but that's kind of awesome. And then he just put them all in Obi-Wan robes, and I was like, what the F, man? What is happening? Why is everyone dressed the same? And then again, it's like, oh, I'm gonna hide out for 19 years on Tatooine dressed exactly the same way I did.
I never thought of that. Sense. That is such a great point. Like, I never thought, I didn't really give thought growing up to the fact that his robe was really just for him hiding. That they like made it a thing.
Well, for like ever, it was
official
like
robe.
Forever, it was like, oh, he donned the garb of the moisture farmer, and I was like, well, that makes sense. But then, like, there's so many problems with the prequels. It's so infuriating.
Yeah.
Back to this though. What
sorry.
happens here? No, it's okay. We're having a bigger conversation in school, but I want to just at least go through the plot as much as I can, if we can even call it a plot. Leslie Headland's wife talks to Twerp Jedi about
that face.
There's no other way to describe him than Twerp Jedi. I think that's the best way to describe this guy.
Please, Master, may I have another?
So this is the funny part, that he's like, wait a minute, if all these Jedi are dead, there's only one guy that could have killed them. It has to be Sol. And she's like, no, I never said that. You should be ashamed for even thinking such a thing, even though it seems logical, or something like that.
Yeah,
like she believes it. Like she's ready to throw Sol under the bus, but
yeah, they basically say like this. They've all died of lightsaber wounds. It has to have been a skilled Jedi, a skilled fighter that has done this, and so it must have been Sol. He's the only one that could have done that. And yeah, she doesn't seem to have a problem with this idea.
And her facial expression doesn't change much either. I mean, I don't know why the guideline for these actors is like, don't make any expressions, don't make, don't show any emotion. Just
because the director sucks.
I guess their idea of like, well, you're Jedi, so you have to keep your emotions under control. It means that they have to have a stiff, constipated face the whole time, controlling their emotions.
But you can show confusion and still keep your emotions under control.
Yeah.
You're like, ah?
And here they pulled off one of those J.J. Abrams things when he's like, now that you're awake, I will tell you something that you've never heard before. And then the scene ends.
Yeah.
This ship pisses me off so much.
Well, I'm glad they didn't, because if he actually tried to explain on camera everything that happened, it would probably take a while.
That's going to take a whole nother 27-minute episode.
Yeah.
All right, I
no,
changed my mind. This helmet's stupid looking. It looks like something out
The-
of Five Nights at Freddy's.
the smile on it is so dumb.
Yeah.
So again, we got some seriously ugly ships in here. We saw those when they get back on. Oh, before they get back on the ship, I had a note here. They said they're going to gather all the Jedi's bodies for their burial.
That means burn them.
It's canon that they don't bury Jedi. They burn them.
They're just
Like,
gonna
this
have
has
a
been
big
seen
mass
numerous times.
funeral pyre.
But we also missed the Jedi whip lightsaber, because she whips that out for a second and kills a moth, one of those stupid moths, and
you mean like the moth that like helped them all escape earlier, and she just like attacked it even though it wasn't going to attack anyone. It was just flying.
She just out of nowhere she pulls out her little ridiculously stupid looking whip lightsaber and kills a moth off in the distance.
I didn't understand that whip lightsaber thing. It's like it felt like the Wookiee Jedi. You know what I mean? It just feels like what if we had it and it looked like a whip? It's like, or what if you didn't? You know what I mean? Like there's nothing about it that really makes it look cool. It's just somebody was desperate to try to do something that they thought would be like a variation on something that you already know.
It's not a variation though. They've done it. They did it in the '80s comics with Lumia.
Yes, that was the first one that had the whip.
They've been doing whips forever.
You'll have to excuse me. I didn't read that comic, so what
That's
can I
fine,
do?
Price. That's why I'm here, even though I'm still not 100% caught up with the.
I do believe that the character that Leslie Headland's wife is playing, that she has appeared in some of the more recent comics that take place during this era, and she does have the whip lightsaber there too.
And here they tried to rip off Revenge of the Sith. Just before I forget,
yes,
that, like she puts on the mask, and then like you hear breathing, and like OSHA is starting to get cross the dark side. Seemingly, who knows? I feel like by the end of this, both of the sisters are gonna do the right thing, and all the other people are gonna be terrible or something.
Yeah, it's gonna be Soul.
So in that last scene, we get to see Saul comes up and talks to her just before the last scene. Saul comes up and talks to her and says that he had been preparing himself to tell her when he got the opportunity, to explain to her what had happened. He, as far as he knew, she was dead. Do you prepare yourself to explain things to someone who's been dead for over a decade?
Nope.
That makes no sense whatsoever. Of course, then we get the next scene. She goes in. She definitely wants to touch his helmet, and she puts on his helmet to just try it on, see how well it fits,
and then breathes really stupid.
Yeah,
I feel like in the end of the show, both sisters are gonna forgive each other for everything wrong.
Oh yeah, no, in the end they're gonna come together. And they're going to defeat the bad guy, which is going to be a Jedi, not the supposedly who you might call me Sith guy, who's a Sith, but he's not a Sith. They're going to come together. They're going to join together. The love, the power of the two sisters together is going to defeat the bad guy, and they're going to go off and live their lives together. Whatever.
So I feel like I've overspoken.
Not at all, man. Not at all.
More than I should have. But frequently with these Disney shows, rather than watch them, I go read something from the expanded universe. So when Boba Fett came out, I started the Bounty Hunter Wars books. When Mandalorian came out, I think I started reading that. When Kenobi came out, I read the book Kenobi, which was excellent. And then there's a short story in the back that was fantastic. With this, I'm like, just go read the New Jedi Order comics. That has such a better premise where the worst Jedi student who is not graduating with his class shows up to the graduation for his friends and all the masters have killed their Jedi students because someone had a vision that one of them was going to turn to the dark side and just wreck the universe. And it's like, holy crap, that's a premise for a show or a movie or something. That comic series had like one of the best twists during the finale of that story arc that I was so blown away. Like, go read that. Do not waste your time with the Acolyte.
Well, I mean, the Acolyte, it's not that anybody thinks it's good. We're pointing out that it's bad so that people will not try to do that thing where they pretend that it's good and the media says it's good because it's so stunning and brave.
I'm just offering another.
No, you're offering something legitimate. I mean, obviously, if you like Star Wars, it's better to do what you said. And at this point, I don't think anybody thinks that Disney Star Wars is going to be any good. But I think that it's fair enough to call out that it's bad and explain why it's bad. They deserve all the criticism that they're getting. They deserve it. And I think that it's becoming greater and greater. And at this point, I don't think that there's any media circus they could do that could cover up such a blunder on Kathleen Kennedy's end. I think the jig is up. When I say the jig is up, I've known this for years, but I'm saying we've all known for years, but I'm saying even the mainstream media is having a more and more tough time trying to clean this mess up for KK.
But there's still a company that insists on doubling down. So anytime we're like, oh, this is it. This is the breaking point. It's like they still do something else that's more stupid.
Right now, it's sort of a game that I already think that I've seen the worst, and then they do something else. They're they hold their own beer and do something even worse all the time.
Yeah,
it's true.
They just switch hands.
Yeah.
Right. It's the weirdest thing, but now it's like a train wreck. You know what I mean? That's why I don't even get upset. I just look at it. It's it's not Star Wars. It's just some crap.
Exactly. Yeah. That's been my attitude for the last 5 years. I'm like, well, it doesn't matter. This isn't Star Wars.
If this did not have the Star Wars name on it, absolutely nobody would be watching this disaster.
No,
not even for laughs, not even to mock it. This would be completely ignored. It's trash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And by the way, if you do enjoy this stream, make sure that whatever platform that you're on, if you're wherever you're at, you should follow or sub or join. We appreciate your viewership, and we don't take it for granted. So if you want, you can like and share. And also, of course, go check out what these wonderful gentlemen are doing. Whether it's Dread Roberts and his channel, he's on all social media. Sean Crummell has a lot of stuff going on, and Professor R2. Make sure you're subbed or you're following or you're whatever social media platform you see these people, immediately follow them.
Keep an eye on them. Make sure
good
you report to the police for their movements.
Will follow for sure, yeah. But I mean, this episode, we're just going to quickly go over, just give us some thoughts. Dread, what did you think about this episode?
Oh, it's trash. Can't wait for the next one. I just can't wait. I haven't gone to sleep as fast as watching that episode. Osha and May's actress, after that music video, I dislike her. But you know what? It is what it is. At this point, it's just for the lulz and just to compare our hatred for it, because that's all it feels like we can do at this point. So, yeah.
It's surprising because she makes this kind of condescending face in that music video. She doesn't make it on the show. On the show, she doesn't even do that annoying face in the video. She doesn't even do that.
She does that weird dance too that goes with the face.
That's one weird dance with the face. That whole thing is weird. But I guess Professor R2, what did you think of this episode?
Well, I mean, I think they could have fit this whole episode in 3 2-minute scenes that were well written. There's almost nothing happens. I will say this, we kind of skipped past it. We kind of moved past it pretty quick. But the scene where Basil and the little smartphone droid ambush May in the ship, squirt her with oil and stuff. laugh riot. One of the funniest things I've seen of the year. 10 out of 10.
And Sean, I know you didn't watch it, but as somebody that didn't watch it, how bad does this look to you?
Best episode ever. I loved it. I don't know, man. Like season 2 with Mandalorian, that show was not good, but when Luke showed up, I was happy. Shortly after they did Boba Fett and the Vespas showed up, and I saw that online, and I was like, I cannot believe this is happening. They have never recovered since then.
No, they haven't. The thing with Luke Skywalker showing up, at that moment in time, they had like the smallest little hint of something that maybe fans would want to watch.
Yes.
And maybe they had something they could do to try to win some of them back, but they totally didn't. They didn't capitalize on the only bit of fan goodwill they ever built, and they just
like you had The Force Awakens, which I came out of twice feeling dead inside, but apparently other people liked it. And then after that, that was the one time that they did something worthwhile.
Well, the thing with The Force Awakens is I think that I fall into the category of people that I never thought it was the best thing I've ever seen. I felt it was like a cheap rehash of A New Hope, but I thought to myself, and this was the foolish, how I was dumb. I was foolish. I thought, well, they had to kind of, reboot the franchise, and they wanted to introduce it to a new audience.
Absolutely did not have to do that. I've heard.
You're right. But at the time, I so wanted new Star Wars, and I was fooled. I bought into this stupid delusion because I really wanted more Star Wars, and I thought, no, they're just starting off this way, but they're really going to respect the fans. And like the Last Jedi,
that was the hope.
Right. And then I thought to myself, Luke is coming, and like the Last Jedi is going to be fantastic. And then I saw the Last Jedi, and that was it. Like they lost me. But
and remember that this was this was Disney at the time. They had done incredible things with the Marvel franchise.
Right.
They had taken a handful of little superhero movies and made them events that not just comic book fans wanted to go see, but it was a phenomenon. And so I think there were a lot of us who were in sort of that same category who thought, hey, they're going to be able to maybe do the same thing with Star Wars. They're going to turn this into something big. They're going to be able to write some good stories, have some good heroes. But yeah, of course, it took a completely different turn. I was in this a lot and pretty close to the same camp you were in there, Price. Like, yeah, it wasn't great. They kind of were trying to reboot some things. It was definitely a JJ shortcut where he was basically just taking A New Hope and kind of redoing it, which he's known for doing. But I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. It was not until the Last Jedi when I came out of the theater physically ill.
Yeah, that was it. That was the real moment that like you understood that it was over, and there was still, even then, I had hope that maybe like I didn't understand the Last Jedi. Maybe Luke is actually he is alive and he's just fooling them, but all of that ended up being that it became clear at some point that they meant exactly what they did there, and there was no turning back, and if they had a little bit of fan goodwill with The Mandalorian, they squandered it. If they had a bit of a chance with the Obi-Wan Kenobi series to interest a few fans, they ruined that too. They didn't take advantage of anything they had, and all they did was push the same propaganda over and over again. And if everybody's making fun of them now, they deserve it. They simply deserve it.
I mostly thought Marvel movies were bland.
That's fine. I mean,
but
listen,
I did have faith that they were going to do something like
I
good with Star
personally,
Wars.
I liked what they did with the Marvel universe at the time, and I still think that I did like that they built events. I like the Avengers movies. It's not perfect. It's not that everything that they did was perfect, but I thought that the overall general direction of what they were trying to do was actually something that is crowd pleasing. Whereas with Star Wars, they didn't go in that direction at all.
Yeah, I did have hope for it. I even did an episode 9 animated GIF of Luke and all the old heroes, and it was like a cautiously optimistic direction for the future, even though I hated Disney then too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we went over this thing. There's not really much we can do with it. If we're already talking about Disney, I saw something today that, based on all the interviews that O'Keefe guy did, that supposedly maybe Disney is going to get lawsuits.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if
Oh
you saw.
yeah,
We can always hope.
dude, that guy's crazy, man. His investigative work is just through the roof. It's just amazing. I love how he can just get people on the inside like that.
Was there a new thing that came out? I only saw like 2 things, I think.
I've seen the big like 30-minute video that they released, and they said they're going to release more.
Oh,
I haven't seen more than what's come out like in the past week, but
no.
But apparently it's like they're continuing it.
I'm just working a lot lately, and I can't keep up.
I mean, I guess now there's like a situation where there's, going to supposedly sue Disney based on those interviews. I'll tell you what, I respect your opinion, Dred, but I've been saying I don't have anything against James O'Keefe. Like I say, I appreciate his hustle. He's doing whatever he needs to do, and he's, people are interested in his investigation, and I can't take that away from him. Personally, there's something about these 2 specific people that they've found for these investigations that aren't very impressing me. They don't seem like, they seem kind of like, like losers. I don't really know how to explain.
Not particularly credible, perhaps.
Okay, yeah. Right. Who's the first guy? He's like the vice like director of some department.
Jason Biggs guy. Out of the 2 of them, Jason Biggs is more serious than Kumar. Jason Biggs is like, Jason Biggs is really weird, and it seems like there's something wrong with him. But somehow, like, his recordings seem a little better than the Kumar guy, who just seems like there's also something about it that once a guy goes on a date and there's a woman that supposedly looks good and she's trying to get stuff out of him, and it's almost like he thinks that if he'll say certain things, she'll like want to go home with him. I don't love that as a basis for an investigation.
Yeah.
There's something about it that at the end doesn't feel right. Now, I don't feel like I'm like these guys, but I feel like I'm thinking to myself, if I was ever on a date, then maybe, some woman likes an artist that I don't like. And, at minimum, maybe I won't say that I how much I dislike that artist. You know what I mean? If it's like a musician or a band or something, and she's like, let's say she's super hot, and I'm sitting with her, like, I'm thinking throughout my life, I'm on a date, super hot woman. Obviously, I want her to like me, and she's like, I really like the Backstreet Boys. I mean, what am I going to do? I'll just say like, maybe I'll order this beer. You know what I mean? I'm just going to I'm not going to say anything. You know what I mean? Or I'll just kind of nod. Now these guys are like more losers. So they're just saying whatever these women want to hear. It just doesn't feel like the basis of a good investigation to me.
Yeah, there's even like just basic human interaction. Like, I've been working a job for like 3 years remotely, so I didn't interact with a lot of people. Now I'm thrust into interacting with people face to face, and I'm trying to get to know them without espousing all my annoyances and stuff like that. And like, I don't know how they're gonna respond to like, oh, I like this movie, or I didn't like this movie. And it's like, am I just gonna go off on a tirade about like, it's woke and it's stupid and you should feel bad?
You should probably not say anything in your job, Sean. You
Exactly.
should say nothing. You should nod and say like, this sounds great. Yeah.
This is experience being an old man. It's like you let people talk, and then you add on to the fact that you actually want to get laid. you're like, oh yeah, I don't have any problem with that. Yeah, I like that to this degree. Like you're more agreeable
You're more
interacting.
agreeable.
You're
And again,
yeah,
I don't know what this woman looks like. These two kind of look like losers to begin with. Neither of these guys
exactly.
look like they got out of some kind of like model fashion magazine. Well, like I said, one looks like the American Pie kid and the other one looks like Kumar. Neither of these guys look like they're swimming in I don't dread is here. I don't want to say negative things, but
Bro, it's fine. It's all
Charisma.
good.
Charisma is the word you're looking
It's
for.
all good, man. I'm totally. I mean, that's a good point, though. I mean, even on video, they show themselves not to be very professional. I mean, right off the bat, when it comes to a pretty woman or man or whoever they're talking to, they're willing to spill the beans on so many aspects of their work lives.
they are so into these ladies that are talking to them.
That's
Like,
their clout. That's how they think
Yeah.
they're gonna win
Yeah.
someone over.
Yeah.
Oh, this lady's interested in me and she wants to hear about my job. Yeah, Jay Goodwin on the chat on YouTube. Yeah, said if you're an executive disclosing company secrets to get laid, you need to lose your job.
Yes. Yeah.
absolutely, these guys are like dumb. And again, they, if nothing else, the part that I'll give O'Keefe, that I'll give him something, is that it does expose the kind of company culture maybe a bit at Disney, because you can sort of see some of their mindset in a few of the comments they make. But I still feel, how like in a court of law, if they did an illegal search at a person's home, then whatever they found there can't be admissible as evidence, like in those kind of Law and Order show. I feel like this is also a sort of an entrapment. If this was just a colleague, having a conversation with another colleague and one, recorded him and it's a whistleblower, I would feel more okay about that. The trying to impress a woman thing, I don't like that.
Well, even on I think Midnight's Edge, I was listening to them talk about it, and it was like, it seems like she's really leading them on. And it's like, yeah, that doesn't. I don't know, man.
I was watching the report, and the guy was. I mean, it's very possible that he was.
Oh,
just
wait! Gooch has, I think, sent some people here. Thanks, Gooch. Gooch Diabolical Souls. That's a great channel. If you're not familiar with it, I think you should check it out. He does a lot of cool, viewing parties for a lot of anime, a lot of stuff that you don't see in other places, and his channel's just been doing so well, and I'm really happy for him. He's a really, I don't want to say he's a good guy, because then they're all gonna remind me that I said that about Cannoli Sasquatch. But no, but he is a good guy. He is a good guy, and Cannoli's a good guy too. People just don't believe me, but they are good guys, and I like them.
I believe you, Price.
Anyhow, thank you very much. Thank you for sending people our way. Greatly appreciated, man. Back to what we were talking. So what we were talking about is, yeah, those guys. They're not my ideal whistleblowers. I understand, and especially when there's such a feeling of people want to stick it to Disney and they want something. And I know some people, like a Mexican Iron Man, said, "Listen, the only way you can get these guys to talk is to put a pretty lady in front of them." But I still feel like something about the way they're spilling their beans isn't 100% as authentic as I'd like.
Yeah, you get the sense that they're saying what they think the girl wants to hear.
Yeah, and the one thing, just to, I don't want to dwell on it, but even the Kumar guy that was saying that, like, the only way that you'll ever get to the C-suite is if you're like a white Jewish person, or I don't know what he said, and then you look at their C-suite and it's all like these diverse ladies and stuff. Like, I actually think that, like, whatever he's saying isn't necessarily true. You know what I mean?
Well, if you're faced with a pretty woman, are you going to tell her that you're being held back in your job because of racial policies?
Depends if she lives in California or not.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I can't move up in my job. Anyway, want to get together later?
I feel like this
Want to
guy
have children?
This guy couldn't move up in his job because I could just tell on how he is on his date why he's not moving up. You know what I mean? Like if this was an interview, like I felt like I don't want to give him a promotion. He made the case for why he's never going to move up. Just by merely existing, you know what I mean?
Like, I'm pathetic. Can I have your number, please?
You want to meet my parents?
Probably lives with his parents.
I don't know. I can't take it seriously, and I understand that whoever likes the O'Keefe thing, like, you know, I give the props that there was at least an effort made here. I don't completely dismiss it, and I'm not saying it's completely invaluable, but at the same time, I want a different type of investigation. If you want to present yourself as more like a newsworthy investigator, I need it done in a different way.
Yeah.
But if it sparks people into action to sue, I think that's a good thing too.
I guess so. I don't think these lawsuits are going to get anywhere, in my opinion.
Well,
I feel like, you know, at best you can file lawsuits, but I don't. This isn't enough. This isn't enough to, like, you know, if they're trying to do that thing, then I don't think this is going to deliver for them.
Yeah,
well, I don't know.
I think there's already been some interest, but you know, potentially in suing Disney over, you know, some of this stuff. They had their whole Reimagine Tomorrow thing that they attempted, where it's basically their DEI, you know, policy, anti-racist, whatever, that they want to put throughout the company. And I think that's already gotten some interest from some people saying, oh, there's potentially some problems here with employment law. We're going to have to, you know, look at that. I don't know if this is going to be a whole lot more ammo for them. Again, it depends on what's admissible, right? What you can actually use. But I know that Disney, at least some people think Disney has deep pockets, and so there's definitely going to be opportunities there to sue. I know I had heard of a recent suit against them where some employees were suing Disney because they were basically forced to relocate to Florida from California. There was supposed to be a new office complex that was going to be built there, and it didn't get built. And so they were forced to relocate, and now they're suing Disney. So yeah, who knows what kind of suits might come out of this, but I'm sure eventually, yeah, somebody is going to be banging on their doors asking, you know, why didn't I get a job because I'm this color or that color or not black enough or whatever. So I guess we'll have to wait and see.
It's still kind of crazy that you can't, like, if that is true, that even if you're only partially white, that can still greatly affect your as Jay says, upward mobility in the company.
I mean, the thing is that we even saw before, like, these quote unquote whistleblowers, we saw that guy from X-Men 97, that Bo DeMeo, that he was saying that Kevin Feige, when he interviewed him, says, you know, we really want you to work on this project because you're both black and gay. And that really shows what the company mentality and culture is.
Yeah.
And to me, that actually has a lot more weight than this guy sitting on a date being like, yes, of course, I don't get a job, I don't get a promotion because I'm not white, or I don't know what he was saying. Like, I don't know, that just seems dumb to me. Like the Bo DeMeo thing, I actually am convinced that Kevin Feige really said that to him, and he said it because he wanted somebody that he could do 2 check marks. He wanted somebody black and gay, and he wanted the propaganda, and this guy he thought would give him everything. And at the end, it turned out that this guy actually didn't give him what he wanted, and then he fired him.
I totally believe it. I know. I personally know people that have left Disney because they were forced to do weekly diversity meetings about why they're white and racist, and they were just like, "I'm done," and they just left the company. So. Yeah, no, like you tell me, you say these things. Oh yeah, I'm sure Kevin Feige was like, "You're black and gay. I want you here." I'm like, yeah, I 1000% believe he said that.
I do. That to me is worth like so much more. Like when the guy said it, he was being totally serious, and I believe him.
And it's insane that show did so well. Like, I hear nothing but positive things about
I mean,
X-Men
I think that
97.
the reason Feige fired him is that Feige thought that he would come and do whatever that kind of hire does, and maybe this guy just said, "Hey, I actually like the X-Men. Why don't I try to do a decent cartoon?" And then that didn't sit well with Feige. It didn't.
How-
That's not the reason they brought that guy. They wanted him to. He said he was black and gay, and he wanted him to reflect that within the show. And
that
maybe
is
he didn't reflect it enough.
madness. That is madness to me. We have a successful show. You're fired. It's like, I'm sorry, what?
How dare you create a show that's faithful to the X-Men television show of the 90s? You bastard! You're out of here.
I do not even give a crap that he might have an OnlyFans. So many people have said that show is so good, and I'm like, I'm stunned.
It didn't really get great numbers. It didn't get a lot of viewership, but a lot of people who were watching it, I watched it, and I was cautious, decidedly so, when I started watching it, knowing some of the drama behind the scenes. But I also really did enjoy that 90s cartoon that it was based on, supposedly the continuation of, and it's good. It's a good show. Do I have some complaints? A little, yeah. But overall, it's pretty good. And it's very representative of the show that was made in the 90s. It feels very much like that show. And so, yeah, I mean, it's gotten a lot of positive buzz from reviewers and from its audience, those that have watched it, because it's a pretty faithful show to the X-Men, from the 90s. So.
But get that guy out of here.
Oh,
yeah. Man, I gotta watch this show. I gotta finish X-Men 97.
Yeah, it's quite good. Yeah, especially if you were a fan of the show in the 90s, if you read some of the comics from the 90s that show was based on.
I ate some of the Pizza Hut pizzas that the show was based on.
I think I had one of the first. I think I had the very first episode of the X-Men animated series. I think I had it on video VHS.
Yeah,
when I was a kid, long time ago, and I don't think I've seen anything past that. But you guys make it sound so good.
And cried, ran around.
I was there,
and then just came up with a pitched it to Kevin Feige, and him and Brad could not have been more just supportive and also just encouraging to make sure that we got it right. I think one of my favorite parts was they were truly interested in what my experience as a Black gay man was and how it was going to inform the story we were telling.
See, they wanted to know how he was going to inform the story they were telling with the fact that he was gay and black. That's Kevin Feige.
But you look at some of those statues, those are some expensive statues, man. Like the average, I remember a video of, what the hell's his name? The Last Jedi director. I hate him. Whatever. He was like, I got Star Wars books, and he had one on a shelf. This guy actually looks like he likes X-Men.
Yeah.
He probably does. I think that at the end, the problem is that everybody just assumed, based on all the marketing, that this was another case that Kevin Feige did his thing, and it's going to be full of propaganda. And because of the bad goodwill, fan goodwill that was really non-existent because of all the bad Marvel movies and where the franchise was heading, nobody took this seriously, and nobody thought that it would be good. This, based on this interview, initially seemed like it would be dead on arrival. The only thing at the end, it happens, apparently, I mean, I only watched a few episodes, and I admit I have to watch more. I didn't hate the few first episodes that I saw, but I think that people were just expecting that they'll watch it, and then that propaganda will slip in and start beating you over the head. And it turned out that this guy, even though he was hired because of all these weird things and all the checkboxes, I guess he just likes the X-Men, and he was trying to do a good show, and that's just sad these days. The funny thing is, Disney never anticipated that their diversity hire, whatever, actually may like the X-Men.
Yeah.
and want to do a show.
Actually likes the X-Men, actually knows who the characters are and how they act and how they work together as a team, and understands potentially that the X-Men were always intended just to represent those of us who feel like outsiders. It was never meant, they were never meant to be gay. They exclusively, right? They were never meant to necessarily just be teenagers who feel like they can't connect. They were always meant to be these outsiders in society that could represent all kinds of different views, even black gay men. So, you know, why there's no need to change anything.
I just want to read this comment. Joshua Calkins, I was going to sleep, but Dredd Roberts is back, so I'll try to stay awake.
Hey, what's up, Josh? I'm glad you're here, man.
So sorry, Professor R2, I was cutting you off. Go on.
No, that's fine. It's pretty much done. I was just saying, like that was always kind of the X-Men. They were outsiders, and it wasn't specifically supposed to speak to just black gay men or just specific, groups of nerds or whatever. Like it's just supposed to be, these are people who are outside of society. They're hated because of how they are different. And we can all, or many of us anyway, can see ourselves in that. We can say, oh yeah, I've been the outsider. I've been the person who's on the other side of not being popular, not being part of the in crowd.
You're just describing nerd culture.
I know, it's
for like ever. And it makes me sad that nerd culture is popular now.
I've been on the, interestingly, I've been in a situation where I've been surrounded by Hollywood people, and I was like the odd man out there, if that makes any sense.
Well, I believe that. You are a squid in a crown.
Right, but I mean, in my human form, I've been in situations like that, and I feel like I was I don't know. The best way I try to always think about it, it's like the Borg or the Body Snatchers. Like, I always feel like I was, you know how Donald Sutherland yells at whoever that is there at the end? Is it Karen Allen?
Yeah.
Who's the actress in that?
Oh, I don't remember.
Anyhow, you know what I'm saying. That actress that Donald Sutherland, who recently passed away, yells at the end. Mm-hmm. I'm like that actress. I don't remember her name.
Brooke. Is it Brooke? Brooke Adams?
Yeah, Brooke Adams. She sort of reminds me of a young Karen Allen, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, she's kind of the... Oh, no. Brooke is the other girl. It's Veronica Cartwright. She comes up on him from Alien.
Anyhow, in any case, I feel like I've been in situations like that where like they all are really happy with themselves, and I just feel like, kind of different in that circle.
Yeah. No, it's Veronica Cartwright.
Veronica Cartwright. Oh.
Yeah,
oh no!
It's been forever since I've seen that movie.
I feel like Sean has jumped ship.
Self-destructed.
He got pwned.
He had enough of us.
Yes.
Sorry, I don't know why it split the thing up like 3. Like, I didn't mean to be bigger than the other 2 people, but what can I do? I'm just a big squid. But when Sean comes back, if he ever comes back, then we'll make sure this thing is divided more evenly.
That way we can all be square.
Totally.
Together.
Yeah, it's hip to be square.
And speaking of square, we can oh wait, I think that Sean is back. Sean seems, here he is.
I hit Control Q instead of Control W.
Woo.
It's okay. Nobody noticed.
Yeah.
Nobody noticed. It was just...
Don't say that. They should have all like shrieked in horror when I disappeared.
It was just a minor thing. No. Nobody noticed. I'm just kidding, John. So what was I going to say? Okay, so to our next topic, which I think is fair enough to point out. Uh, there's this flop, the Kevin Costner flop. Have you heard about this?
Yeah.
I've seen
Horizon.
bits.
Yeah, Horizon. Let me see if I can pull up something. There was something that like now there's like excuses being made.
Oh,
Yeah, Oh, we never expected it to be huge in its first weekend.
That's a really weird take. Yeah, that's exactly the one I'm talking about.
Some others. I think was it Michael Rooker? I think is in the film. Oh yeah. Michael Rooker was saying like, I don't care what you think about, oh, the movie's too long. Well, get over it and go watch long movies again. Something.
Not to be mean, but when I saw a trailer, I was like, that's not gonna do well.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to give my impression here. Now, I admit I haven't watched this movie, but the thing is that I think that this whole movie was off-putting for me because I actually watched Yellowstone and I didn't enjoy the fact that in the final 8 episodes of this series, Kevin Costner basically jumped ship so he could make this movie. Now, he'll give his side of the story and he'll say that, the producers weren't so cool and they did this and they did that. But you know what? That show, when you have people for years watching something, to sort of not give them that sense of closure and to just jump ship like in the last 8 episodes, is no matter how you present it, at the end it comes off as very douchey. And even these movies that he wanted to make, it's almost like he just wanted to make them as a middle finger to Taylor Sheridan, the guy that makes Yellowstone, because he wanted to show him that he's a better Taylor Sheridan than Taylor Sheridan. But you know what? You didn't need any of this. Like, you're the star of Yellowstone. Just do your thing. And then later, once that show is done, you can go make whatever Western you want. And maybe people will be interested in seeing it. But I don't know. I
it
just
is
feel
kind
like
of weird how he rushed everything.
this was all his ego. This whole movie is a giant ego trip of Kevin Costner. Now, I grew up, there's some movies I've liked of Kevin Costner. I liked him in The Untouchables.
Mhm.
I'm trying to think what else I liked him in.
Tin Cup, Waterworld.
The No Way Out. No Way Out, he was good. And he was good in The Untouchables. Those are probably his best movies. Field of Dreams. Those were good movies.
Yeah, Field of Dreams.
Those are like, probably his top 3. But I don't hate him. It's not that I look at him like I hate Kevin. I don't dislike him, but at the same time, he needed to do that show and not let his ego get the better of him. I think that he really wanted to prove here that he's the man. He doesn't need anybody else. He can go make this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to end up losing a lot of money because he invested a lot of his own money in this.
Mm-hmm.
Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves money.
That was a good gamble. I mean, that movie, it was dumb, but somehow for that moment in time, it was enjoyable for some reason.
I love it. I had the trading cards.
Yeah.
I like the movie. I don't know why. I haven't seen it in many years. He does the worst accent. I don't know if he's trying to do British or he doesn't even try.
He doesn't even try.
I feel like there's one part in the movie at the beginning that he, like, for a few scenes, maybe like there's a few words that he tries, and then somebody just tells him, Kevin, just forget about it. Nobody will ever believe this. But it's just like, whatever, fine, I'll just talk normal.
It's so ridiculous.
Like,
how much money did they spend on this movie?
I know that he invested about $38 million.
Ooh.
Of his own money. I don't know how much they might have gotten from other financing. But
I'm sorry, I almost cursed based on that 38 million. I'm excited when I find a hot dime on the sidewalk.
Let's check the numbers. We can see.
Could start your own production company with a fraction of that money.
A fraction. Gracious.
Looks like the total production budget may have been around 50 million.
Maybe between the deals he does with streaming services or whatever, he's going to somehow break even here, maybe. But this is not a big hit. This was, Tom Connors, who saw this, told me that it felt like a TV series that they just shoved a bunch of episodes, and he wants like 4 different movies that'll be like almost like a mini series, and all of this sounds like a bad idea to me. I feel like he should have just finished Yellowstone, and then if he wanted to do a series where he does his own kind of Western thing, he could have done that.
Yeah.
And he would have
Yeah.
had a built-in audience to some
Right,
degree.
an
Yeah.
audience that wasn't annoyed. Because for me, there's a part that kind of is annoyed with him. Why did I watch all those
Yeah.
episodes just for him to run away?
Yeah, I think they were really
Mm.
depending on that audience and at the same time piss them off, which doesn't
Yeah.
really make a whole lot of sense. So yeah, the plan, at least according to Kevin Costner, is a 4-film epic.
I don't know if that's going to get made.
He made the first 2 together, is my understanding. So the first one is out now, and then the second one comes out in August. I'm wondering how much of that production budget was not shared between those 2 films. So, maybe when it comes to selling, once we get numbers from both of those, and again, yeah, like you said, like streaming deals and whatever, maybe he ends up making his money back. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, so far I have not heard great things. I've heard that it actually has a pretty good first couple of hours, but then the last hour is a real slog to get through. So
Clay Thomason has something very important to say. He says that Kevin has always been kind of a dick. It's true though. It's hard to disagree.
He definitely lets his ego get the best of him, I think, in a lot of situations, unfortunately.
The thing is he has what I like to call an inflating and deflating ego. Like, there's years where like things weren't going as great, or he was just pretty okay, or getting some roles and just doing okay. And in those years, I think that he was a little more humble because, like, he wanted to get these roles, he wanted to do well. Once he got that Yellowstone thing where like it was exploding, immediately, like, in 2 seconds, the success goes to his head. Like, it doesn't matter that in the past he's been through these experiences and he's made mistakes. He hasn't grown. He hasn't learned from them. Now there's more success. He's just.
Sorry about that. My phone went off.
What was that?
It was a video, and I was like looking at it without trying to press play, but it pressed play anyway. So there you go.
Curse you, autoplay.
What was in the video?
Oh, there's a rumor out there. Let me pause it again. It just plays without my permission. There's apparently a possibility that maybe Final Fantasy XIV's going woke a little bit. They had a new expansion with a pink-haired character that like most of the story focuses on, and it's voiced by a trans person. And so I was just kind of glancing at it. So that's Final Fantasy XIV's been out a while. So
yeah, it's been out
like
quite some time.
I have a confession to make, and I'm going to be really embarrassed myself here. The last version of Final Fantasy that I played was on the NES.
Wow,
man.
That was like, I finished that one. I did it from like start to finish, and I finished that thing, and I loved that game.
The Final Fantasy.
I have a memory card that has Final Fantasy VII, and I am forever saved at the point where you run down the mountain to fight Sephiroth, and I never finished it. You just always are on the mountainside.
Yeah, Final Fantasy XIV's been around forever. That's like 2012.
Yeah, I think I maxed out like 3 characters like 10 years ago and haven't touched it since, and they've been pushing out expansions ever since. And I don't know, I just saw it on there and I'm like, okay, well, a pattern that I've seen is that these people take a lot of games that have been out a while and that people are like paying less and less attention to, and then they'll go in and change a bunch of stuff, or they'll start doing these story expansions that people don't care about. And it feels like it's all part of this revisionist movement that they're on when they're trying to remake everything, or go back in time and ruin what was already there. Yeah. But I'm like looking at it, I'm like, this is just crazy, because it's the expansion. It's very like, usually the expansions are player focused and it's like a big scope. I'm not going to pretend that I've like watched every single one of those expansions play out, But they said that this is a striking difference because they're focusing mostly on this one character, and it's like this one character story that you just happen to be writing along on. And I'm like, man, of course they're going to do something like that.
Nothing incurs my ire like rewriting history like 1984.
Oh,
Yeah.
I get so pissed.
We're getting a lot of Assassin's Creed remakes with modern
boy.
visions. So it's gonna be fun.
Did you know that Altair was always a trans bisexual?
I hate these people so much. They're ruining everything.
That's it's so well anything from
Dread.
I was gonna say the big studios. Typically now it seems like that's all gonna happen. I feel like I think maybe Price and I were talking about this the other day. I feel like the game studios are a few years behind the movie and television studios. That maybe some of the movie and television studios are starting to feel that this is not working out for them, and now the game studios are revving up to start really shoving this stuff in our face.
Yeah, I agree. I think
going to
that's
work out well.
Yeah, I agree. It won't, and I think that is where we are. And I think the balance to that is that gamers are seeing what's happened to the movie industry, so I think they're trying to nip this in the butt while they still have the chance.
Yeah, we've already seen this happening. We've already had an opportunity to sort of we can sniff it out more quickly now than we used to, and then we also already have groups like you got Cabrutus Rambo out there, putting his anti-DEI stuff together. And exposing some of the different studios that have really made some real messes of some different big name titles recently. And I think there's definitely a focus on it. There's a way we can kind of get together. We can we can coordinate our outrage against.
Yeah, I mean, like the big hope, like the big hope is that all of these gamers will band together, and like Grums, I remember he had this idea that you don't buy anything for 2 years. Everybody just stops buying mainstream games for 2 years until they change their tune. And I think that's a great idea, but but it's hard to.
I may be doing that regardless of anything that Grums has said. I don't see anything coming out over the next couple of years that I really care to purchase.
Yeah, exactly.
Looking at all of this, garbage that they're trying to shove into it, the messaging and everything. So
I started playing Wind Waker again.
Why not? Right? Go back and play some retro stuff. That's another thing when you think about with gaming, like you can go back and you can play these older titles again, games that you haven't played for 10, 15, even sometimes, 25, 30 years old. You can go back and you can re-experience those games. We don't have to have new games this year. We can go back. There's hundreds of hours of entertainment we can go back to while we wait for them to stop making this trash.
And I might be an old man, but like if it doesn't look like the peak of video games for me was the PS2, the GameCube, and the Xbox 360. And like if it looks too realistic, I don't want to play it. Like I'm that weird kind of gamer that's like if it doesn't look like PS2, PS1 like polygonal graphics, it seems weird to me.
That's all I play, by the way. I've said this before. I have like a retro gaming console, and it has like almost all the games from like the first console you can ever think of till like maybe PlayStation 2. And from time to time I play that, and it's fun.
Yeah, I've heard of. You've told me about some of the games that you've played that were made by the Aztecs, way back in the day. Like the archaic games.
It's true. You know what? Those games, there was something nice about them.
There was a balance. There was a balance between design and functionality, and the amount that you could achieve through the functionality versus how you had to engage the audience with visuals. Like that's why like when PS2 was around, oh my god, I wanted nothing more than to make games for the PS2. Like that drove me. Like Oh my god, I bought like every game that came out for that for a long time just because there was like some kind of wonderful hybrid between Saturday morning cartoons and gameplay. And
Well,
honestly,
they told
uh,
some great stories in games
Yeah,
back then
yeah.
too.
yes,
They didn't rely on having ray tracing and whatever, right? You know, it was not.
massive online gameplay and stuff. Like I
Yeah.
hate people.
Yeah.
I don't want to play games with them.
Those were the days, man. 360, I think, was my peak. I have to agree. You know, Call of Duty or Modern Warfare 2 at the time, Red Dead 1, Halo 3, dude.
Halo
This was like
3.
most of my time playing those games.
Well, Halo 3 ended the war and video games for me. I went back to school to get a master's degree, and when I revisited games, everything was like star cards and like trying to incorporate trading cards into video games, and I was like,
Oh.
what the hell is this?
Yeah, the PlayStation Move was such a weird thing,
Mm.
and the Kinect. I wasn't a big fan of the Kinect. The Kinect and
Yeah.
PlayStation Move era. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, just end.
The Kinect sounded like an interesting contraption, but I didn't bother getting it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my brother-in-law thought it was the greatest thing since sliced bread, and I was like, "This is not. It's just motion controls." What?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, I remember like this was already maybe friends of mine had this. I don't think I had it at this point, but there was like Rock Band. People
yeah.
were playing like Guitar Hero on those Rock Band. See, I'm a real musician, so I actually play instruments. So for me, that kind of seemed lame that they were standing around and doing the stupid and like
That sounds
PlayStation
so
version.
snooty, and I love it.
Yeah.
What is
Rhythm
it?
games. Well, I will keep my crappy plastic guitar, and I will rock out half. Well, I'll play my rhythm games and enjoy
Yeah.
them.
The only value I saw there is that if when you sang a song, it would tell you if like you're hitting the notes, if like you're in tune and stuff like that. That did have value, and I enjoyed that aspect of it. But aside from that, there was something, a few times I hung out with people and we played that, and I felt like, I don't know why, but I felt like. I don't want to say dirty. Like there was something about it that I didn't like it. I'm like, I'm a musician. I don't need this crap.
I don't need this crap. You
Yeah,
damn kids.
We had one of those. It was the first rock band that had drums.
Yes.
And my brother-in-law is a drummer, and so he was trying to play it. He's like, "This is, bleep, whatever," because it's
no,
not.
you can say
this
it
is not how you would really play it, man. This is not how you would really play the
drums. As long as you warn Dread Roberts that you're going to say a bad word, you can say it.
He plugs his ears.
You guys think I'm gonna like scream like a dragon and start flying around breathing fire? Just just do what you do best, guys. It's all good. I mean, I'm just not going to say curse words. That's
fair
but
enough.
I'm not gonna like. Whoa! What did you just say? What did you?
The thing is that I actually don't often use curse words, but once in a while something annoys me, and it's hard for me to steer away from it. But it's not that I like say it every second. It has to be something that really, really annoys me, and I feel like I have no other choice.
But to call someone a booger.
Yeah, I don't really like to curse on stream. I have a soundboard that I have a bleep button that I would use, but unfortunately it's not working right now. So
I really like that. I like Joshua Culkin saying lots of third-party support from the Aztecs.
Yes. Yeah, they had good consoles, man. They had they had that little rock calendar looking game thing. It's really good. Cassettes.
That one ends the world.
Oh yeah. Oh wait, that's the Mayans.
By the way, Dread, was it you that was saying that Sweet Baby Inc. destroyed another studio?
Oh yeah. Oh well, they're in the process of doing so. It's that game, that Sweet Baby Inc. game. What is it? The Tales of Kenzera Zhao, and it's made by this guy named Abubakar Salim, who is the best friend and former partner of Kim Belair, who's the current CEO of Sweet Baby Inc.
Mhm.
And they actually formed a company a while back called Baby Suker, which is supposed to be a baby sweet or something stupid. And they like them, those two, and David Heddard and Amy Lay. These are all people who are currently in Sweet Baby Inc. And Abu Bakar is off with his own company called Surgeon Studios. But he tried to make a game and got like full Sweet Baby Inc. support for it. Everybody found out about that because everybody has been trashing on Sweet Baby Inc. for being garbage and pushing DEI. And so this game just got pwned by like everybody. Not even their niche audience was buying and playing this game. And the game has not made good sales. I think its peak has always been 287 and has like in one single 24-hour period, they had 287 people. And then it plummeted and has never recovered since then. They have not done well in sales, although the CEO will say, oh, yeah, the sales are doing great and everyone's a liar and a bigot. But that doesn't change the facts. And now a bunch of people in that company have been laid off and they're gone. Technical artists, environment artists. And this is like an environment-heavy platformer game. So very important people have been let go, and it's just the same pattern over and over again. Sweet Baby Inc. involvement equals disaster. And
crash and burn.
Yep.
It's bad.
And I feel bad for these dudes because
Sure.
I've been thinking about it lately because, you know, there's a lot of people, of course, in the industry that are good-natured and they're just trying to do something cool for players. And then there are the other people. But, you know, like, this was their choice. And honestly, Abu Bakar Salim, with his reaction to all of this, saying that, you know, like in the first 30 seconds of his little video where it's like, it's because I'm black. That's why I've always had trouble in the industry. Like, dude, just keep dropping the ball. Everybody sees you for who you are when you say things like that. And it's very clear that you are very close to these Sweet Baby people because his attitude shows it. And if this company goes under, I won't be shocked. I won't be. But they're facing layoffs heavily. And they're having to admit it on social media. It's like a big deal. So, yeah. Oh, he did complain in June because I was reading that Park Place article today. So he complained about racism in June and victim and all that stuff. And
yeah,
I think the player base doubled by. So they had 40 people in one 24-hour period. It was really amazing. But after that, just back to, you know, dwindling again. So that's happening. And of course, you have those genius IGN writers up there who just keep saying amazing things. What was it? The lady who's a Santa Monica Studios writer. So God of War Ragnarok. Also interesting that game has heavy Sweet Baby Inc. involvement as well.
Mm-hmm.
But this lady who came out as pansexual and is one of the writers of that game and of Santa Monica, also former editor at IGN, she thinks that having kids is a burden when playing video games. And what is it? A situational disability?
Situational disability. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Truly idiotic.
Oh.
Like even if her intentions were, it's like, all I was saying was that it's tough sometimes. But no, just like no one in their right mind outside of any internet space would ever use children and disability in the same statement, especially if you're a parent.
You can't convince me that the internet and smartphones has not been a detriment to society and mental health.
Oh, it has.
Absolutely.
It's garbage. Like, dude, I don't even know how they keep hiring. Like, it's like they're all vomiting in each other's mouths. Like, these people leave this one outlet and work for this game studio, and then they leave the game studio, work for IGN, and then I'm just like so sick of it. These people don't even play video games.
No.
And they're like talking about accessibility and kids. Like, it's just all weird. It's like, if you're a gamer, why in the world are you asking FromSoft to add a pause button after 10 to 15 years of them not having a pause button just because you have a kid? Like, one thing I was thinking about, I was like, dude, it's not FromSoft's responsibility to raise your kids. It's your job, okay? If you're dying in the middle of a boss fight and getting all frustrated because your son's about to stab a fork in an outlet, as she says, get off the game and raise your kid. And come back to the game later because the game ain't going to pause. It's a high tension, high octane, fear infused combat game. So you're supposed to be on the edge of your seat. But these people, they're saying these things because they don't play these games. They don't care.
Yeah.
And they're just like, I want to. It's like I can understand her point of because she's like, oh, I have tendonitis, which is an actual disability, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fine. You have that's a real thing to complain about. A couple extra button mashes, I'm cool with that. But your kid's like, well, I have a kid and now I'm at a disadvantage. Like, shut up.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm going to have this kid. She's really not going to be able to take care of herself until she's about 18. So don't publish any new video games for the next 18 years, or because I can't review them. What?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, it's nonsense.
It's also disappointing because back in the day, speaking of the PS2, IGN used to tell me all the best games coming out. I was so into them back in the day, and they've fallen so far as everything.
Yeah. Game Informer, those were the days, right, where you could barely see the games. It was all pixelated, but you were too stoked to care.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't do that anymore. Well, they kind of do, but it's just not the same since everything's super digitized now. And but
I'm just largely dead inside to any new media.
yeah,
So it's like if I see a new movie, I'm like, oh hey, and I didn't hate it. It's a miracle. We watched Lisa Frankenstein last night, and I was like, that was actually entertaining, and the actors were wonderful.
Yeah. Mars Monkey Max says, I think she was saying her kid, but I think she meant her boyfriend. Dude, I was so sure that she did not have a kid because the way she talked about kids, it just sounds like she has no idea what she's talking about when it comes to children.
She's like my kid who takes me out on dates and buys me things.
You know, if your kid is such a detriment to your career, you know, there's plenty of people out there looking to adopt. Take care of that.
No.
Yeah.
No. Well. Oh, what was very interesting is that I was mentioning that she had a pansexual coming out video. The funny thing was that she posted that the same day that she posted the accessibility option video. And I was so confused by that because it's like she posts that, and then it's the pansexual video. It's just like, to all the bigots out there, I'm like you're not making your situation any better by saying that's even more divisive.
Is pansexual the one that they like everything?
Yeah, they'll. Well, as
if
we
it
used
moves,
to say, they'll do anything that moves. Yeah,
right. That's what you wanted to say. If it moves, they like it. That's the PG Dread Roberts version.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's true. That's what pansexual is. That's what I've read, is that you're just anything that moves, you're willing to do it. And it's like, and then that's right after giving advice about parenting and accessibility with a pause button on a game that doesn't use a pause button. Like, this is the IGN former editor and a video game writer of one of the biggest gaming studios in the world. And I mean that because it's God of War, dude. It's like one of the most popular franchises ever. I have my issues with the second most recent game. I certainly do. But man, like, to get a gig like that, how are they hiring a person like that to write for them?
Well, even don't like my PS4. I can hit the PlayStation button and it goes to like the main menu, and that kind of pauses stuff. Like, she's got to have a workaround, right?
There is actually a workaround in game, but she wouldn't know that because she doesn't pay attention to the menu.
Yeah, there you go.
There's a way you can pause it unnaturally, but it's really not that big of a deal.
But you would have to actually be into games to like want to figure something out like that, right?
Right. But yeah, like her intentions were probably good as far as actual disabilities, but that whole thing about the kid was just such a disingenuous lie, and it's like, and you're trying to bring up Elden Ring of all games to try and make that case. It just makes you look unprofessional, and the terminology is way off. Like, nobody would ever call being a parent some kind of situational disability or a disability of any kind, really. Most parents take joy in being parents and don't see kids as some kind of liability. And it's funny because she tries to defend herself in a post afterward where she's like, what'd she say? She said, I just totally lost my train of thought. She made a post saying that it's actually a situational a situational disability to have a child, because that situational disability can prevent you from progressing, or at least being in the situation of having a child can prevent you from progressing. I'm like, you're just looking at this whole thing backwards.
Like you made a mistake having a child.
Yeah.
And you're just continuing to make bad life choices.
Yeah. But yeah, by the way, they chose to have a kid. This isn't like a circumstance that was randomly thrown upon these people. They chose to have a kid. Well, she didn't.
It sounds like just a lack of taking responsibility for any action throughout your life. That's all that sounds like to me. I didn't read the article. Maybe it's different, but it sounds like a very immature attitude, and now you're writing it as like an authority for an article.
Yeah. Yeah, if you guys ever get a chance to look at that, though, you'll find some of the things she says quite interesting, I think. But it's just one of many examples of all these people at IGN and other gaming websites that they just have no idea what they're doing, what they're saying, and they make themselves look worse the further they go along.
Yep.
Well, IGN, I've never really taken them seriously. I feel like, I don't know if they were ever considered a legitimate publication. They certainly aren't today.
They were some time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, a while back.
Really a while back, yeah.
Yeah.
But
I think only one other thing that I can think of that's happening is that a bunch of Japanese people are petitioning for Assassin's Creed Shadows to just not happen.
Yep. Oh, that's amazing. I love it.
Funny enough, though, I did go to the change.org, and like the first two people that you see made a video like to as an addition to their donation message. It's like two white dudes. They look like super nerdy. So like not even Japanese, but I'm like, okay, whatever. But that's happening. I think there is validity to it, though. There are a lot of Japanese people who are upset about the game, and the game really does stomp on them culturally. If you actually like take a minute to research what they've changed and added in the game, I think the biggest sin, for example, is the big gates. I think it was like the Torii gates that Ubisoft believes you can just trample on through, no big deal, and put them at the entrances of villages, even though they're basically holy shrines that you're supposed to like tiptoe around and then not even enter through front and center, but like off to the side while bowing and going through all these traditional steps. And and then Yasuke, the black samurai who's going to kill a bunch of Japanese people, is just trampling through the Torii gate like it's nobody's business. Just I'm pretty sure I saw him spit on it too. But it's awful. So yeah.
And on that very positive note, I mean, I guess let's just go around. If there's anything you guys want to plug or talk about or anything, this is like the final stretch here. So, Dredd, did you have anything else you wanted to go over?
No, I think I've covered everything. Just a bunch of outside of that, just people saying stupid things, but that's all I've got. So
awesome. But in any case, great to have you back. I was telling the audience here for the past few weeks that you've been handling some stuff kind of offline. You've been spending more time in the real world, doing some stuff that's important.
Oh yeah.
And that's sometimes more important than just some guys like talking about stuff like online. Although what we do is fun, but you always have to take into consideration that life happens and stuff like that. But we're always glad to have you here. And as far as I'm concerned, I hope you're here every time. But I understand that there's a lot of stuff going on, so we'll all bear with you.
I'm happy to be here. No, I am happy to be here. And yes, I've got some family stuff going on, which I'll actually be able to talk about sooner than I thought. But yeah, it's just something I deal with. I mean, in the meantime, like, you guys are great panelists, and Price, you guys do such a great job even without me. So, I mean,
but I like the fact that, like, all four of us together now. This was cool. I'm happy that we did this, and hopefully there will be more of it, moving forward.
The gang's all here.
Gang's all here. Professor R2, was there something you wanted to bring up or talk about or plug or anything?
Oh, no, I think I'm good. Thanks for having me. Appreciate being here, and had a great time tonight. Again, if you're interested, you can follow me on X. You'll find me there, chatting about things every now and then. And then, I do have a YouTube channel. Not really doing anything with that yet, but if you want to subscribe over there, maybe I'll be getting to doing something with that soon.
Sean, I can tell you, he has his own sticker collection, which you can get at realseankrummelart.etsy.com. And in addition, he has his own YouTube channel, all that other stuff. Sean, aside from what I just mentioned, is there anything you want to talk about or plug or anything?
I want to talk about how half my head is dark and the other half is gray. I feel like Two-Face.
You are like Two-Face. And the thing is that, like, I don't know how it happened with that stripe in the middle. You're like that guy from Gremlins.
I am. I'm like Stripe.
You're like Stripe from Gremlins. I don't know how you do that, though. Like,
it just happened.
It just happened? That's, like, crazy.
I started getting gray at like 24. I'm now 43, and I just have this, like...
It's interesting, though. It adds, like, a layer of, like, what was it? Is it Grandpa Adams? What am I looking for here? Grandpa Munster? Grandpa Munster, yeah.
Yeah. You Grandpa Munster. Combined.
Didn't he have, like, a hair that there's, like, a stripe in the middle?
Probably, yeah, sure. Yeah. My friend is always like, you look like Danny Phantom. And I'm like, I was too old for that.
Wait, let me see if I can find Grandpa Munster.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Okay, I'll show you. I mean, you don't exactly look like Grandpa Munster.
Oh, thank God.
But I think that, like, let me see if I can find a high resolution image here. Large.
Well, anyways, I'm working on a sci-fi comic series. I don't know what form that's going to take, but hopefully it's coming soon. And then I do stuff on the YouTube channel. And in between working and everything else, I'm trying to figure out what to do as the next video. I'm actually kind of nostalgic for doing one of my old comic reviews. I might do one of those soon. Oh, see, he's got it on the sides.
Yeah. I thought this would come out a bit different.
Yeah.
You don't exactly look like Grandpa Munster.
Well, I could do that smile. Look, how's he leaning?
So uncanny.
Leaning this way.
They're like twins. They're like Osha and May.
Give me a collar.
So, in any case, so glad to have everybody here. Dread Robbers, always, great, to see you here. Professor R2 and Sean, who in recent weeks have kind of stepped in and helped a lot here. Great to have you guys here and with Dread Roberts. It really was a special evening. And to our really, really cool audience on Rumble, thank you for watching. We really like this platform where we enjoy being here. And thank you all for tuning in. As for the people that came from the raids of Nick Weiser and the raids of Gooch, also known as Diabolical Souls, thank you all. Thank you all for showing up. Really great people here, and we always enjoy seeing you. I guess we'll see you here. Thursday is 4th of July, and I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, 4th of July, I think we should enjoy our 4th of July. As much as I like the night owl, sometimes you got to take a day off and just, spend it with some family or things like that. And I think that the 4th of July is a good day for that. So in this rare occasion on Thursday, If you're expecting a stream, there isn't scheduled to be one. But next Tuesday, we're here front and center, and you guys should totally come visit us. And if you like what you saw here, remember to subscribe to Dread Roberts, to Professor R2, to The Real Sean Crummell, and you know, even this channel. If you're in a subscribing mood, if you saw this and you said, like, really, how can I contribute? Well, this is a good way to contribute to our efforts. And the greatest thing is that it doesn't cost any money. You just click some button, and you're making a world of difference for some people who are trying to deliver some great discussions and streams for you. So I highly recommend that you sub to me and to these other fine gentlemen. And now that we've gotten all out of the way, I want to wish everybody here a good night. This has been super fun, and we'll see you here next week on Tuesday. Good night, everybody.
Night.
Good night.
Now let's see if I can really end the stream.